In the meantime, the presidency has reacted, saying that the conviction of Justice Walter Onnoghen by the Code of Conduct Tribunal for false assets declaration is a major victory for the anti-corruption policy of the Buhari administration. The president says in a statement that the outcome of the trial demonstrates clearly that the law is no respecter of persons, titles, social or political connections. But the statement did not make any reference to the rejection of the CCT's judgment by Justice Onnoghen. It, however, stressed that the essence of the rule of law is to hold everyone accountable equally before the law, regardless of their high or low status in society. The statement reads, quote, "The conviction of Justice Onnoghen should send a clear message that the dragnet against corruption will be spread widely to hold public officials accountable, whether they are politicians, judges, civil servants, or holding positions of public trust." End of quote. It adds that the war against corruption is all-encompassing, not designed to prosecute anyone for political or other reasons. Well, in light of the recent ruling of the suspended Chief Justice of Nigeria, the country's anti-corruption war again is on the front burner. And joining us from Abuja studios is a guest, Mr. Abiodun Aikomo, is a special assistant to the president on white-collar crimes as well as anti-corruption. We'd like to thank you for joining us on the program at this time and ask your thoughts. I mean, the presidency has reacted, saying it's a war, it's a fight against corruption. It's all-encompassing, seeing as the latest case with the suspended Chief Justice. But some people have argued that this is a selective war and that it is flawed and that this administration picks and chooses who it gets to prosecute or who faces that anti-graft war.
Hello?
I can hear you, but how would you react to that? How would you react to this fact that some have said that this war, the anti-graft fight, it is flawed and that this administration picks and chooses?
Well, the allegation that the administration picks and chooses persons to prosecute is not right. The truth of the matter is every society, when crimes are committed against the state, and it is the state that prosecutes to ensure the continuance of the state. In Nigeria, we do not have capacity to prosecute every offense that may happen within the shores of the country. But this administration has been fair enough in prosecuting as far as we have capacity to, as far as we are able to. And the fight against corruption is not limited to any class of persons. People have argued repeatedly that the fight has been focused on people of the low class of the society. That has been the argument for a very long time. Political office holders have not been affected. Now, this administration has shown the political will and the courage to even look within the highest hierarchy of government for prosecution. So the allegation that it is, the government is cherry picking is not right, and it does not reflect the reality that's on ground.
You say political will, but if we look at, the timeline, the history, starting from the delay in his appointment 2017 to when he was acting capacity, that capacity expired as CJN before he was even confirmed by the Senate. We've had the fact that he's the first Southerner since Justice Irekefe, 30 years now, and then it has come to this. So a lot of people are circumspect and speculating that this perhaps is beyond what we see. But even though he has said that he's taking this matter further, and that is on appeal, it appears that this is a ruse to make the judiciary uncomfortable.
It is not true to allege that any government would want to make the judiciary uncomfortable. In a democracy or a democratic government, governance is by three arms of government who have been created by the Constitution to work together as partners. There is no way, even if the executive is superhuman or managed or manned by superhumans, they cannot take the position of the legislature and the judiciary in a democratic setting. So the allegation that any arm of government is out to undo, to outdo any other arm of government is not true. You know, in a society like ours, people can say all sorts of things. When there is vacancy in any office and the Constitution has stipulated the procedure for appointments, what people may not know is that there is always a procedure for everything to be done as stipulated by the law. Sometimes, even the judicial process, people on the street may feel it is too slow, it is not as fast as they expect, but there is always the how. So the process of appointing someone into an office, of confirming someone, has a procedure. Most of the time, the procedure is not open to the whole world. For example, if someone is to be appointed a judge, it is not something that is done overnight. There are lots of background checks, verifications that go into it. So those are the things that happened at the time of the appointment. And unfortunately, subsequently, some other things happened, and the law has taken its course. So I vehemently deny the allegation that there were some, you know, I can't even remember the words that you used. But the government, the executive has been very
trying to muzzle the judiciary. But let me quickly ask, Justice Onnoghen indeed said that he's asking, or rather he's contending, that he didn't admit to the non-declaration of assets, as Justice of the Supreme Court, but only said that he did not declare his assets in 2009, which he eventually did in 2010. There's several regulations, even in the Code of Conduct, the Public Officers Act, that says that if he has said that this is what happened, then they should move on. But this still went ahead, and charges were brought by the tribunal speedily. A lot of people wondered how fast that came about. But let's look at the judiciary. Some people are saying this has happened to the #1 man in the judiciary. You said it's the arm of government and that they're all working together for the greater good. But the executive enjoy immunity. Don't you think this should also apply to the judiciary moving forward?
Okay. The issue of immunity that is enjoyed by heads of the executive arms of government in Nigeria is a constitutional provision under Section 308 of the Constitution. The drafters of the Constitution, in their wisdom, did not consider it necessary to accord the same immunity to judicial officers. So maybe in the future, when there is going to be an amendment of the Constitution, if the draftmen think it is necessary or needful, that may be part of the Constitution at that time. But as of today, the Constitution that we operate, the 1999 Constitution as amended, does not confer immunity on judicial officers. And that is not to say that there are no inherent immunities that judicial officers enjoy.
And sadly, that Constitution...
those immunities have not been...
And sadly, that Constitution didn't also mention the suspension, this Constitution also provided for how the Chief Justice should be suspended as well as appointed.
No. Can you refer me to the provision on how the Chief Justice or any judicial officer should be suspended?
We're talking about the provision of the Constitution. You said that the Constitution provides for immunity, but I'm saying the Constitution isn't expressive to tell us how the Chief Justice should be appointed, yes, but not necessarily suspended.
Okay. The provisions on appointments and removal are very, very explicit in the Constitution. As you and I know, the Constitution was drafted by human beings to guide our conduct in the society and in the conduct of affairs within our society. The Constitution may not envisage every issue that may arise in the course of implementing it. And no constitution or any law, for that matter, is self-implementing. Human beings are required at every point in time to implement the law. Perhaps the drafters of the Constitution did not even imagine or could not anticipate that a time will come that a Chief Justice of the country will be called upon to answer questions based on asset declaration.
Okay.
Nevertheless, if you follow everything that has happened on this issue, there was an allegation that came from some NGO against the Chief Justice of Nigeria.
We know
there is a constitutional body set up to deal with such issues.
I wish we had more time to continue to talk about this. And sorry to interrupt, but we really like to thank you, for your time on this particular issue. A lot of people have had so many different positions in terms of the arguments on this issue, but we're really working with what we have, what the facts are, what the law says, and some of the pronouncements of the judicial, the courts and the tribunals on this issue. But we'll come back to this and also bring you more on the program. Please stay with us.